How long is a year? Hello, my name is Paul. I am 49 years old, currently living just outside of Seattle, Washington. Born and raised in Buffalo, New York. Was there till I was 30, and moved around the country for a while, and been here for about a decade now. And this is the third time I'm attempting to start this specific little vlog. I'll just call it that from now on. And how long is a year? I've always been fascinated with kind of time and perception and kind of the human condition and how much we change, or hopefully how much we change throughout our life. How different things are when you're my age compared to when I was 20. It's really fascinating to me. And recent life events have me spending time for the first time with someone much older than me and seeing some of the beauty in that and some of the pitfalls that you can fall into and the things I don't want to become and the things I admire about it. But you never really think about it too much because that's way down there, and you're just gonna be the same person, right? But that's not the case. And what a lot of this little vlog is going to be is kind of going to be like my journaling every day. Gotten to yet another point in my life that's a kind of a turning point. Today happens to be my wife's birthday, and 2 weeks from today is my birthday. 2 weeks from now I turn 50 years old. Half a century on this planet, which is really a little crazy to think about. Half a century, been here every day. And the other thing about me, I'm about 5'8" and just about 300 pounds. And with those statistics, the average lifespan for someone in America of that height and weight is about 59 years old. Now I am lucky that I do have very good genetics in many different ways. I don't get sick, and I don't have, as fat as I've been for as long as I've been, I don't have a lot of the symptoms that come along with that for a lot of people. Not because of anything I've done, just because of how I was born and who my parents and grandparents were. So I'll probably live past that. But how much past that? If I live to 65, that's 15 more years on this planet. And I just got married this year. Just bought a house, the house I'm in right now, a couple months ago. And now, for the first time, I can see that ending kind of time frame, and I don't want it for the first time. Never thought about it too much before. Never cared too much before. It's going to happen what's going to happen. Just want to live my life while I'm here. But now that it's within reach, now that I've been here for 50 years, and probably have about 15 to 20 left, ooh, that's scary. And the last 5 years or so, a lot of different changes in my body, a lot of different things I can't do that I used to be able to do. So that makes you think a lot. And it says a lot of big, deep thoughts going on, and want to express it somehow and think about it and talk about it. And I've moved a lot in my early life and in my late life, and so I don't have a lot of people close to me at all aside from my wife. It was just before we bought this house, we rented a house together, and we were there for 3 years. And as I looked back at different paperwork and different other things that I have, 3 years is the longest I spent in any one place as an adult. From the time I turned 17 till now, 3 years, which was just a couple months ago, is the longest I ever spent in one place. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to talk about, a lot of things I'm going to think about out loud. And I think the reason I've had to start this 3 times, because I never really had an exact purpose for it. But now I really do think this is just going to be my journaling for the day, the things that I'm thinking about that day. A lot of it's going to be about weight loss. But hopefully a little deeper than what I've done my whole life before that. And I shouldn't even say my whole life. I was never overweight growing up. I was an athlete growing up, especially in high school. I was a very good athlete. When I graduated high school, I think I was 180 pounds. And I was very athletic. It wasn't, it was all muscle. Played football, ran indoor track, ran outdoor track. Then after I graduated, I think I got up to like 220 really quick because I stopped playing sports, obviously. And then I went right back down to about 200, which is a little heavy, but for my body frame, it would do it, and for how I played sports just before that, it was fine. Then slowly gained a little weight. Then at 30 years old, moved out of Buffalo, moved down to Washington D.C. on about a week's notice. Someplace I've never been before my whole life. I didn't know anyone there. Just went there for a job, and that job was doing roadside assistance, which means you go out, change tires, unlock cars, jumpstart cars when they have an emergency situation. And people have emergency situations all day and night. And my shift for 4 years in Washington, D.C. was that for 12 days in a row, I was on call, 24 hours a day, for 12 days in a row. Didn't sleep. Never slept more than 3-4 hours at a time. Powered by Mountain Dew. And during those 4 years, I went from 220 pounds to 280 pounds. And then that was from 30 to 34 years old, and now I'm getting older and putting on the weight and have all these bad habits I've had my whole life anyways. Yep, and then moved around the country a little more. Got up to about 300, 325 is the most I've ever been. Maybe 330. And then, since then, 290. Up to 310. Motivation, diets, 290, 310. I've tried all the different weight loss medications. I've tried a lot of things. And then, at 40 years old, I started a job as a 911 dispatcher. And that's the first time in my entire life I had health insurance at 40 years old. And one of the things I did with that health insurance was start therapy. And the reason I started therapy is because I couldn't figure out why the fuck I couldn't lose weight. I am disciplined. I think I'm smart. I can plan things. I can put together an organizational diagram of what to do and how to do it and why to do it. And I can focus on the things that need to get done. I get the things done that need to get done in every aspect of life, except for losing weight. Could never do it. I could not figure out why. And then through therapy, learning that emotions and how you dealt with trauma or weren't able to deal with trauma when you're younger really control most of your decisions as an adult and the way you do things and why you do things, unless you truly think about it and reform all those pathways. That was mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing that I'm not controlling everything that I'm doing by my choices. Just like I'm making a conscious choice to do it. What's the problem? And then once that realization hit, man, did that have some domino effects about everything else, about the relationships that didn't work, about the moves that I had to do, about relationships with my family, about so many things that it's a little too far to say they're out of my control, but there's something I'd never controlled. There's something I never made my own conscious choices in. You feel like you make your own choices, but you don't. The 5-year-old you or the 9-year-old you that had to deal with some trauma and was able to get through it in some very unhealthy way, but was able to get through it, that version of you is making these decisions about who you're dating, where you're moving, if you're quitting a job, if you're getting into this addiction or comfort or that addiction or comfort. Oh, such a deep thought and means so much in so many aspects of life. But anyways, this is my kind of journaling. These are thoughts that go on in my head, and I don't really have anyone to share them with. So, hi. Thank you for listening. And I want to do this just about every day. So hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. And if I didn't say at the beginning, today is August 14th, 2025. We'll see if that's not on there tomorrow.